Busy. Look at this place. Wow, amazing. Okay, the most important question for many of us is which coins to buy right now as the bull run is coming up. Which projects are worth looking at? Which projects are worth investing in? Well, join us right here at the UMiner stage as we present tomorrow the startup pitch. This is your chance to listen to a lineup of incredible startups. It will provide a brief overview of their ventures. Keep in mind that only one startup will be chosen as a winner by our esteemed jury of experts. Mark your calendars for tomorrow at 12:20 p.m. as we gather here on the UMiner stage. And while preparations are underway, a quick reminder, invest in mining from our general sponsor, UMiners. Passive income, everyone's dream, from cryptocurrency mining is easier than it seems. Find them at booth A1, not to be confused with booth AI. And now let's watch a short video by UMiners. Let me get out of the way. Cool. Why not? Big round of applause for that video. Keep the spirit. Woo! I like that. I heard a woo! All right. So, where are we? Okay. Top venture capitalists will discuss, we have a panel, in case I wasn't being clear. So in this panel, top venture capitalists will discuss the evolving landscape of venture investments and explore the latest trends in startup funding, where leading venture funds are placing their bets, and how private investors can tap into these high-growth opportunities. I see a lot of friendly faces out there, people I know. This is great. We'll delve into the risks and rewards of venture deals, compare venture capital to traditional investments, wherever those are, and uncover strategies for turning small investments into big returns. Whether you're looking to back the next unicorn or diversify your portfolio, this discussion is a front row seat, that's you, to the future of innovation and market creation. So I invite onto the stage, again, co-founder and executive chairman of Animoca Brands, Yatsu, founder and managing partner at DWF Labs, Andrei Grachev, founder and CEO of Morningstar Ventures, Danilo S. Carlucci, managing Edward of HEX Ventures, Edward, head of Solana's super team Middle East, Alex Scott, my buddy, and moderator, director of capital markets at Animoca Brands, Charles Campbell. Big round of applause. Come on up.
Hello and welcome everyone to our panel today, the Unicorn Journey, Insight from Top VCs. My name's Karis Campbell. I'm a director in the capital markets team at Animoca Brands based here in the UAE. But let's meet our esteemed panelists first. Yat, could you go down and introduce yourselves, please?
My name is Yat, chairman, co-founder of Animoca Brands. We have done over 540 portfolio investments in Web3, which is, I guess, why at least we're on this panel.
Hey, my name is Andrei. I am founder and marketing managing partner of DWF Labs. And so we do market making, we do venture and OTC investments. Yeah, that's what we are doing. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Danilo. I run Morningstar Ventures. A bunch of these people are my friends, and I've been on panels with you before. Blockchain Life keeps getting bigger. I'm excited to be here. And yeah, we're amongst the most active investors in Dubai. And we are happy to see this ecosystem growing.
Hi everyone, this is Edward from Huobi HDX. We are one of the leading exchange here, and also old friend to Blockchain Life firm. I'm right now manage the venture team as well as all the asset side and business development. Happy to join the panel.
Cool. I'm Alex. I'm leading Solana's efforts in the Middle East, based in Dubai. My focus right now is bringing founders from all over the world, building on Solana to take advantage of what's happening in the UAE.
Fantastic. Let's kick it off. So this year we've seen an array of different narratives come into the market. We've seen ordinals, node sales, DeepIn, meme coins, and of course now there's a lot of chat around TON. We've seen clicker games, we've seen hyper-casual games come through. Yat and Andre, you've both been avid investors in the TON network. Can you talk us through this narrative and why you think it's here to stay?
Maybe I'll start quickly. I mean, TON, obviously, just a previous panel already discussed it, close to 1 billion users. Really, that's kind of what we think was needed for the Web3 space to have a sort of pathway to bring out these viral effects. Because previously, at least in Web3 gaming, you were restricted. For instance, Apple has a rule that you can now have NFTs in your game, you just can't use them. So basically, what's the point, right? And Steam outright banned NFTs inside games. So with TON and Telegram, you have basically this way in which you can expand these network effects and finally grow from them. So that's really sort of the primary reason why we thought there was potential around that. But of course, the point is that you can grow the network from it, but it's still up to the application to build these network effects and develop value from that. So it's not necessarily sort of a one-to-one equation, but we finally have this way in which you can get mass adoption from end users. So that's really the main thesis points. And of course, talented builders and developers will flock where distribution is. And that's another reason why we are quite bullish on the TON ecosystem.
Thank you.
Yeah, from my point of view, TON had and TON has the most important asset, that is access to hundreds of million Telegram users, right? And we've seen how TON could onboard and how TON onboards millions, tens of millions of new users into the crypto space. Yes, it started like with clickers, with Notcoin and other ones, but now we see that projects are getting some traction. They're getting more mature, and from simple onboarding of some airdrop farmers, it is a stage when more advanced projects will be launched, right? And we are very close to this stage, and this will be like a new, fresh wave of new users that will be participating in DeFi and in crypto actively, and the amount of them will be much higher than we've seen with other chains in the past. Yeah.
So look, speaking of narratives, it would be remiss of me not to speak about the meme coin launches that we've seen this year. I think we're north of 2,500. I've got Alex on the panel from Solana, as if I'm not going to ask you about this. Can you maybe talk to me a little bit about how Solana feels about having this many meme coins? Do you feel like it's taking away the legitimacy of other projects like Helium or Radium? How do you feel about the surge this year, and what does it look like going forward?
Yeah, it's a good question. Someone just pitched me in the back room something called Uranus, not financial advice. But look, I think, so a good analogy here is blockchains are a lot like cities. And right now, everyone is just coming to Solana. And that's bringing everything with it. So much the same, say, with Dubai. And a lot of the criticisms that Dubai might solicit, right, are around traffic. Yeah, that's drop transactions maybe. But the flashiness, the soulness, a lot of the criticism, especially in the Western media, that comes along with that of rented Lamborghinis and the kind of undesirable things that come with just offering superior infrastructure to a global audience with very low or no barriers to entry. So it's kind of just, we have all of humanity moving on chain, and all of humanity's flaws will come with it.
And so with Solana, is this something that they want to be known for, or what type of projects are you trying to attract into Solana right now? Especially being head of the UAE super team here, I'd love to understand what you're trying to attract.
Yeah, so you were at the demo day at the Founders Villa. I'll have, across 3 weeks, I have 80 founders from 25 different countries all coming to the UAE. They typically spend about 7 days, and then they'll pitch their startup.
It's actually fantastic. If you haven't been to any of the events, there's one on Thursday. You should
Thursday night demo
come
day. So actually, I'll show you, not just speak about it. You can come see for yourself. And there isn't a single meme coin on that stage. You have applications that are solving real-world problems in gaming, DeFi, real-world asset tokenization. So if you actually come, go back to the Dubai analogy, actually go there, visit. Don't just judge from afar on what's in the headlines. If you actually go there, spend time, and you realize that people are creating real meaningful business that are going to last a long time.
Fantastic. And Edward or Danilo, any comments from the meme coin craze that we've seen this year from your perspectives as successful VCs?
We've been late to the meme coin game, similar to how we've been late to the NFT game. So I think meme coins are here to stay, and they're very important part of the ecosystem.
Why do you say that? Why are they important?
Well, because I think also retail has a big interest in meme coins, and it's a very creative industry, and things come up with new narratives, new memeable content that then gets shared on social media and attracts the normies to come in. And I think probably Yat has a bit more experience with that. But on our end, we like memes, but we're a bit late to the party, honestly.
That's okay. Any comments, Edward?
Our side,
Yeah.
exchange side, yeah, similar. I think if the fans or the users from our end, they like the token or asset, we'll probably try to support. But I think the more important part is the content rather than just the tokens itself. Yeah.
If I may,
Of course.
meme coins and actually NFTs are very much tied to each other. So in 21 and 22, actually NFTs were essentially the mimetic of Web3. It wasn't the meme coin, but it was about the culture. It was about funny apes or funny dogs or funny penguins or that kind of stuff. And now actually with meme coins, we just have it at scale. But there is a difference between them, which is that meme coins are much more economic because of the fungible nature, whereas NFTs are much more cultural and symbolic. But it's interesting that there's a convergence between the two, because for instance, many of the NFT projects started launching tokens, right? And these tokens basically were effectively the meme coins of their sort of NFT collections. And now meme coins are launching NFT collections because they want to create basically a narrative around, okay, how do I build status and how do I build deep culture in my community that I basically built with meme coins? So we see a convergence of the two sides coming together, right? And so, recently, for instance, with ApeCoin and ApeChain as an example, that growth narrative was around what? Meme coins. And it fits rather perfectly because the Bored Apes and ape itself is a mimetic that most people in Web3 understand. So it is very much about culture and economics combined.
Do you think that meme coins also have cultures? Like if I think about Dog with Hat, I think of Ansem.
Absolutely.
If I think of Mother, obviously I think of Iggy Azaleas.
Absolutely.
Australia represent.
Yeah. So, brands are forms of culture, and brands is a network effect, right? So whether it's a Nike or Adidas, or whether it's Dog with Hat, or basically Doge, or ApeCoin, that kind of stuff, these are all forms of mimetics. The question, though, is that these brand mimetics aren't always permanent. So just like brands can come and go quickly, there are some that can last the ages. And that's kind of the workplace we're in right now. If you had asked people, 5 years ago that Doge would be a lasting meme, most people would say, I don't know, right? And so now we have millions of tokens launching that are memes, and only some of them will succeed, which is very similar to the early days of the internet. Everyone trying to grab attention, right? You had like chat rooms talking about dogs, about cats, about every single hobby that's around the world. Some became big, most didn't. And that's actually the same with NFTs, right? A number of NFT collections became really big, right? Say what you want about the prices, but a Bored Ape's floor price is still, $40,000. And that has lasting power versus basically many of the other ones that have basically gone to zero. So essentially the same cycle.
Yeah, Andreas, are you nodding?
Yeah.
Would you like to comment?
And also, if we take a look at meme coins as a tool for chains to get attention, to get more users, to onboard more users, is, from my point of view, is one of the best marketing tools here, right? Because you onboard a lot of users on the chain. The users generate volumes. The users bring TVL. Creators bring more coins, and chain is becoming more active, which attracts another type of projects, not only memes, but also some DeFi, but also some RWA, but also some utility tokens and some VCs, because people and creators and entrepreneurs, they start feeling that, okay, this chain is active, there are a lot of users, and I can build on top of that to deliver some value, some product to them. That's also a very important part and role of the meme coins in the industry from
I just want to, sorry, not to monopolize, but just one comment to add is, when we look at investing in a token ecosystem, we look at how network effects form. Right? For us, the strength of the network effect is where the value comes. And what's beautiful about the Web3 is that a token, through its financial construct, adds an additional network effect that wasn't possible in Web 2 before, which is the financial system. So when you build TVL, when you have DeFi, actually you're adding new network effects into cultural narratives that weren't possible before, for instance, right? And not all of them will succeed, but the ones that do basically have a life of their own. And it's not necessarily about the size. You could have literally just hundreds of thousands of users, but it could be very, very deep in terms of TVL. And that network effect, I mean, it's why Ethereum is where it is today. It's not about the speed of its transaction or the fact that it has most users, right? It's because it has very deep financial network effects that then become the flywheel for others, right? And I think that composability is really the superpower of Web3.
One of the other narratives I wanted to talk to Danilo actually about is that I saw a recent Forbes article that came out that said popular new battle royale off the grid is actually a crypto game. So we know that there's been a lot of unfortunate cash grabs in the Web3 gaming space over the last couple of years, but anyone here that's played off the grid recently, you know, you've got 70 million plus transactions, 3 million plus wallets. It's the #1 free-to-play game on the Epic Store at the moment. This feels like a really big turning point for us in Web3 gaming. You're a big investor in it. Can you talk to us a little bit about it?
Sure, with pleasure. Thank you. So for those who may have not heard of Off the Grid yet, it's the first title of a gaming studio called Godzilla Games. And these guys have been working on this project for 5 years, and their focus has purely been on building the guest gameplay possible. So not only are the founders heavyweights from the gaming industry, but also they have Neil Blomkamp as a co-founder who is the person that has directed the entire story of the project, right? And so what's different from what Off the Grid has achieved versus other games is particularly it has gained interest from the traditional Web 2 gamers. Not only because the project has been able to be on, you know, consoles, be it Xbox and PS5 and PC, which is what AAA games actually stands for, but particular in the last 2 weeks since the global launch of the application, the retention has been the focus on. And it's beautiful to see that people are enjoying the game, and then Web 2 users are actually slowly understanding why Web 3 is important. So for example, the marketplace of the in-game assets of the game, they're fully enabled by the blockchain. And you can see videos online of people that have been playing the game fully organically, who are traditional, professional Web 2 gamers, who teaching other Web 2 gamers why the blockchain is useful. And so that's, I think, why we've reached a turning point and why everybody wants this game to win. It's because we are wanting to have others talk about the benefits of the blockchain to the right audiences. Because crypto gaming today, let's say, if you compare it with Web 2 gaming, it's still rather small. So we need more users, and we need more, you know, proponents of the blockchain. And I think Off the Grid is a great example. And finally, they're here and live.
Do you feel like this is setting the new bar for investments going forward for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because people often ask us what we like to invest in, and we say, look, we like consumer, we like infra, we like gaming, and then they pitch us games, right? But the thing is, once you understand, I mean, we don't come from a gaming background, but through this investment, we've understood how hard it is to really build games, especially if you want to distribute them to tens of millions of users and have an actual revenue. So, for example, the nodes from Godzilla, they don't come with a valuation from the sky. They're based on the revenue of the company. So I do believe that, yes, it sets a high bar for future games to build economies that are sustainable and that can survive, you know, fluctuations of the market. Because we all know crypto goes up, crypto goes down. Godzilla Games, their focus is not on the token right now. It's purely on building the best game. Mm-hmm. So I believe, Yat, you're also an investor. I think you agree with this ethos where we need to push gaming founders to just focus on the games, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, Godzilla is one of our earlier portfolios, particularly on AAA sort of narrative. So very glad that we're doing this together. I think the one thing to understand in Web3 gamers is that most of the Web3 gamers are not gamers. They're a new type of gamer. Right? There's 3.4 billion people who play games, and there's almost 3 billion people who don't play games. And so all of the people who are coming in basically playing the hamster combats, the gamies, the catizens, are actually people who don't normally play games, many of them. And they enter because of financial incentives. And then a percentage of them become gamers. This is, by the way, how mobile gaming grew. Mobile gaming, before mobile gaming basically became big in 2010, 2011 with the advent of the smartphone, it was basically PC and console. There were only half a billion gamers out there. And when none of them were playing mobile games, right? They weren't playing Angry Birds, Candy Crush, or even Farmville on social. But then the percentage of those gamers that basically said, oh, mobile game's fun, Angry Birds interesting. They're like, okay, how do I actually get to a deeper level of gameplay? And that actually basically translated it down. The PlayStation 3 was a flop, and the PlayStation 4 did really well because the gaming audiences grew as a result. And basically here with Web3, that'll happen the same. Hundreds of millions of users will come in through Web3 gaming, like the Catizens, Hamster Combats, that type of casual. A percentage of them will say, oh, you know what? We really like gaming, and then they filter down, and then they're going to be looking for the games like Gonzilla's off the grid for that quality, while games like off the grid are going to bring people from Web 2 into Web 3, which basically wasn't something we had before. Before we had Axie, which really was a new type of gamer, right? And now with off the grid, you're getting traditional gamers coming into Web 3 as well.
I can see, Edward, you're nodding there. Did you want to make any comments?
For the game?
Yeah.
To be friendly, yeah, personally, I'm the fan of the game, or GameFi. Actually, we also work with a lot of big game factory in China. Almost all of them, they enter the Web3 space, actually. Like
really?
Tencent, NetEase, you know, like Lily's, like Shenda game, you know, a lot of top level Web2 game group in China, they enter the Web3 space by using all kinds of way. But you know, from the investment and the exchange operation angle, to be friendly, we don't have very successful experience. In the 2020, 2021, I think for Huobi Ventures, we invested in around 100 GameFi projects. But actually, very, very few survive so far. I think one of the key principles, which I totally agree with Yasu and Daniel, is I think majority of the team joined at that moment is still trying to pick up more focus on the token and blockchain rather than the game quality. But right now, I think the trend is being changed. Game quality is the number one, and then you can leverage the right technologies through the blockchain and then bring the right user into the space. I think that this is the right mindset right now. I think we're happy to see that. But from the exchange operation angle, to be friendly, it still needs some way to go because we also list a lot of GameFi token. But to be friendly, you know, the target audience is different. A game, sometimes they more attract the gamers, but exchange more attract traders, right? I think that's the part which we are still trying to pick it up, yeah.
And so from the Forbes article, or what people are coming to the realization is that, you know, we have these Web 2 gamers coming into this Web 3 space. So one of the benefits of Off the Grid is the usability of it. It doesn't quite feel like a Web 3 game traditionally of what we would have seen a few years ago. Danilo, I know that you've made quite a few investments around the account abstraction with Xeon and Particle Network. Can you talk to us a little bit about your thesis there?
Yeah, sure. So gaming is one of the tools or one of the verticals that allows Web 2 users to get the value of the blockchain, but there's of course other verticals as well, right? We not just have gaming, we have social fi, we have general consumer apps. You know, you could be, actually in the UAE, I'm not sure if people are aware, we have UAE Pass. UAE Pass is one of the applications you have to use to become a resident here where all your documents are stored. That's built on the blockchain, right? So, and there is chain abstraction involved in there for many years. It just didn't have a label yet, right? But you're using the blockchain without knowing it, the same way our parents and grandparents go on Google and use the browser without understanding HTTP protocols. So it's the same narrative, it's the same kind of enabling of adoption and onboarding of new users via chain abstraction. And these days there are indeed layer ones, layer twos, which are focusing particularly on enabling other middleware and applications to basically embed chain abstraction within their core infrastructure. And so yes, Xeon is one of our bets, Particle Network as well. They're all having a kind of a different approach to chain abstraction, but that's one field that we're particularly interested in and follows, like gaming, the ultimate goal to onboarding new users.
Andre, are you seeing this at DWF Labs as well?
Yeah, we invested and we continue to invest a lot in gaming companies and games, and also in some guilds. From my point of view, the games, they are like growing, right, since 2022, as Edward said, right? Because in 2022, 2021, most of the game producers in crypto, they build something like financial systems, not games, right? Play to earn, when you play and get tokens, right? It was very great model, but it ended up not nicely because in the end, it's like a Ponzi, right? Which is okay. We are in the startup space, right? People produce something, people try it. It learned a lot of other people, and industry learned a lot from this, right? Then now what we have, right? From my point of view, there are like a few types of games that make sense to invest and to make sense to participate, right? That they have some kind of monetization. If the team has some, real money flow and revenue flow from the game that they're operating. It could be in-app purchases. It could be some in-game items, right? Or it could be attention, right? Like marketing when you sell traffic. But it still should have some additional benefit for the game owners instead of selling tokens, right? And then we see, like a phenomenon when a lot of people, let's say, exchange their attention to tokens, then cash it out to stables, and something big happened, right? Like simple game, no money invested, almost no money invested. No people gave some money to here. They spend some time, then they have airdrop, and it costs 1 billion. It means something, right?
So we've spoken about meme coins, obviously Ton with gaming. Actually, Edward, I just wanted to pick your brain quickly around the Bitcoin space. Obviously, we had the Bitcoin halving this year. I saw that you made investments into Corn, Babylon, Lombard. Is this a large part of your thesis at the VC? Can you talk to us a little bit about this?
BTC ecosystem. Yeah. I think we are a strong supporter for this area. Number one, I think basically BTC is the biggest asset within the space. Number one. Number two, I think it has huge potential to become to build a very mature ecosystem. But you need to using the right way. I think that the BTC ecosystem is a little bit different from the other layer 1, layer 2 infra, because others, they are more focused on maybe DeFi, maybe GameFi, social for everything, right? But I think for BTC ecosystem, we think the number one principle for them is the asset characteristics. I think that's the part which we should focus on. So that's why we talk with a lot of different teams and projects. We co-work with a lot of top-level venture capitalists in this area. But luckily, I think we did some good deals. Like from the CD5 perspective, we invest into BounceBit. I think they successfully listed on Binance already in this first half year. And we're also involved in the Lombard and Core. I think both are the good, aggregator for the yield and also the upcoming financial service. I think they have a lot of potential. From our perspective, we think right now, I think it's not the right time just to do a pure DeFi solution for all the institution clients, especially for BTC. After ETF approved, a lot of traditional background institution and old money coming to the flow, which is good, but they are kind of conservative. So the better way for them is to provide a CDFI solution, which they feel is very comfortable from the front end, but we can leverage the blockchain and DeFi space, alpha, so that we can create the right product and service to them. So we think during a certain period of time, CDFI is one of the best choice so far. So that's why we're deeply involved, and we're happy to see a lot of our portfolios grow very fast. But in the future, I think there's a lot of other upcoming and innovative stuff join the space as well. We also seed invest in few projects like borrow and lending protocols like like kind of Pendle within the BTC ecosystem. A lot of other small innovation, the new innovation direction, but still need some time to grow. Yeah, but we are bullish about it. Yeah.
And look, we've just got a couple of minutes left. I just want to draw on a conversation that we were having backstage. One of the trends that we've seen this year when going to float projects, and I know some people in the audience may be looking to launch their own coins this year. We've seen low float, high FDV, low float, Yacht, Edward. I feel like there's a little bit of a disagreement there. I'd love to just quickly hear what your thoughts are.
Well, I mean, before we go there, but yes, I do want to address this. But one thing I wanted to also point out, speaking about meme coins basically on Solana, one thesis point for us is actually that we think actually just how meme coins are launching NFTs, games are going to start using meme coins, right? And I'm kind of curious also to see sort of how many Solana meme coin projects are actually now thinking about launching a game or working with someone to launch a game. And if you're a game developer, instead of launching a token, isn't it maybe smarter to leverage the network effects of token ecosystems that are out there? So it's kind of one point, right? I don't know if you want to address that before I go into the low
Alex,
float,
would
high
you like to
FTV thing.
comment?
We've got a couple projects. They're actually in Dubai doing everything on compressed NFTs. All in-game assets are there, and I'm pretty sure they're planning a TG. So there's some. I think you're exactly predicting what's coming.
So that's one area, and that actually comes down to this point about sort of, to us, this whole sort of low float, high FTV thing misses the point altogether. Okay. And that's not to say that there's relevance. It has to do with, if you issue a large number of tokens to a community, why are they joining the network? And if the network they're joining is just to extract value, it doesn't matter if it's low float or high float, it doesn't really matter, because basically they're only there for one thing, extract, right? And so it's really about how do you build a network of people who believe in what you do, and then building the networks that come from it. And so it doesn't matter whether it's high or low, and it's about bringing the kind of capital in that supports it. So we think we've started in this institutional era of crypto today, meaning heralded with Bitcoin ETFs, but really, if you want to launch a token project, how do you stand out from the millions of tokens launched by Pump.Fund, for instance, relative to others? And that isn't because you can't launch a project from Pump.Fund. It could be worth millions or maybe even tens or hundreds of millions. But if you get it to something that could be worth billions, then you need institutional backing. And think about not just Bitcoin and Ethereum. Look at Solana, for instance. It has institutional backing. Look at Ton. They have institutional backing. And they're the ones who ended up having basically a sort of support because of that, buying on market. So the liquid fund strategy becomes important. So if you're thinking about launching a token, think about how you can be institutionally ready and also what kind of institutional support you can have. And that's, for us, a major thesis point this year, evolving into next year. Sure. Because an institution won't invest in a meme coin as much as they would love to unless it reaches a kind of institutional readiness, which is still years out.
I'm going to pause you. Edward, could you make your comments? Yeah.
I think we have different angle. I think number one, from the value perspective or long-term building perspective, I totally agree with the Yasu. I think at the end of the day, majority of the project which can really contribute the real value to the whole industry is more like institutional driven or maybe centralized operation driven. Even for the meme coin, we still see some types which in the very beginning, the project is just dedicated into meme coin, but they start to grow, become a community, and they start to build a lot of other space based on that. For example, I remember there's a token project called a Deeping based on base, right? I think they do some similar thing and they start to build their own chain or whatever. I think if you have very clear vision and you centralize operational and you get institution back, I think you can get a long-term way to go and a long-term value you can create. I think totally agree with Yasu. But our struggling part, to be frankly, is as an exchange operator, we're struggling because number one, all our users and fans, if we list a token and the token price drop, they will come to us. They won't come to the project. They will say, hey, Edward, you list a shit token and the price drop, we're angry about it. We just want to make money. We don't want to lose money on your platform, right? So it bring us a lot of pressure. I think that's from the exchange operator. So that's why you can see all the top exchanges right now, they are very, very cautious to pick up the right meme coin to list. But for early stage, so that's why early stage meme coin only survive on DEX rather than centralized exchanges. Centralized exchange has more users, has a huge responsibility for all their interests of their users. I think that's the struggling part for us. So that's why when we list, so as to play safe, we're more willing to pick up the low FTV project. So that's why we see, this has potential to grow. If you list a meme token with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 billion FTV, it will be very hard for you to expect that they will have a growth in the coming future. I think that's the struggling part for exchange operator.
Sure. Very interesting. One last rapid question for everyone on the panel. Let's go down. Either comment on a narrative that you think is here to stay or one that you think is here to go. Rapid fire. Yeah.
Meme coin narrative? Or with
any narrative that you think that's either done or you
it's,
think that it's here to stay.
Institutionalization, right? What is mentioned, right? Because a lot of institutional money are coming to the industry, and a lot of institution funds, family offices, they also make money from funding rates arbitrage, from some farming strategies, from some low risk strategies with low API but stable, right?
Okay, so sorry, we're at time. So institution-backed coins, quickly. What's in or out?
I think,
what's hot or not?
I think narrative that not enough people are talking about, but really important, is reputation.
Reputation.
So basically, the future of our industry is based on how do we build more trust, and the antidote to that is basically more reputation, and that comes from forms of digital decentralized ID. So that's kind of a big area we think that'll help the space.
Danilo.
Yeah, so I mentioned gaming and chain abstraction is something we like. What I don't like yet, or I don't find sexy at this point, is RWA. I feel there needs to be some sort of application that makes that kind of interesting. So I have high hopes for it, but so far I feel it's kind of boring.
Sure. Edward.
Any comments?
Hot or not? What's hot or not? What's in or what's out from a narrative perspective? For investments.
For investment, yeah, we more prefer the real narrative, real demanding. We are demanding, narrative oriented. Any product and service you can solve the real problem, we will be happy to see that, and we can foresee the product will have a long-term sustainable growth. I think that's our focus right now.
Sure. Alex.
Deep in, decentralized physical infrastructure.
In or out?
In.
Nice.
Very bullish. Electric vehicle charging compensated by token is an example of that happening on Solana right now.
Don't disagree. All right, let's bring our hands together and thank everyone from the panel. Thank you very much.